So we're living in some messed up times. Here are 5 things that we're talking about every single day to help make sure our business is not only ready to thrive, but manage through economic uncertainty, economic downturns, and frankly, I think it's just good business building principles to live by. So let's dive in today. So each moment we're talking internally about how do we handle a downturn? Are we prepared for uncertainty in the markets? We're talking to other founders, construction companies, contractors, manufacturing plants, energy folks who are just thinking about these things every single day inside their business. And let me tell you the 5 things that we're talking about. So number 1, cash. This is the first of the 5 principles we got to be thinking about on a daily basis. Number 2, customers. You can't do business, you can't have cash if you don't got no customers. Number 3, your cost structure. This one has bit me in the rear end way too many times. And if you don't deal with it quickly and efficiently, it will be a monster to fix. Number 4, your core team. Isn't them homeboys, homegirls around you building that business, taking it from launch, momentum, to exitability, wherever you want to go. I like to say 0 to 1 is your idea phase. That's for the startup folks. 1 to 3 is your launch phase. That is your, we got customers, we're putting in the foundation. That's what we're doing today, or this right now in present time with Create Industries. Venture number 4 for me. And then there's a 3 to exit phase. You can go as big as you want. My biggest was probably in the high $20 million revenue mark. Okay. And then number 5 is clarity of value. This is where we actually spent time this morning talking about, are we clear on our value, our service, the structure that we provide, right? So those are your 5 pillars that we're gonna now double click into each one of them solely. So let's talk about why most companies are not ready. And shout out to my boy Greenway Steel for this cup. Randy, man, you're a rock star. He sent it to me as a gift for talking through some AI stuff, which was super cool. So right now, many businesses are in a position where life has been good. They've gotten complacent. Owners have grown to a level that they're comfortable with, and it has stagnated, and they are happy where they are. Right now, the world is more uncertain than ever because we have economic tensions around the world. We are in wars all over the place. We have confusion about where we are at the ends of time, beginning of times, all this kind of stuff, and just a whole lot going on. And so when that happens, when uncertainty happens, businesses pause because they don't know what to do next, and they're trying to prepare what to do next. And when businesses pause, companies in that supply chain, wherever they are, from the raw materials all the way to finished goods, that sucker gets clogged up. And when it gets clogged up, businesses suffer. And so we need to be ready. And so to be ready, we need to be prepared. And to be prepared, we've got to look at certain things in our business. And that's the 5 things that we just mentioned and we're going to talk about today. Because if we don't do that now, we're not proactive, it's going to cause a mess. And so we're talking to folks all of the day. We're talking to contracting companies, suppliers, fabricators, energy companies. We're talking to folks who are looking to exit their business to make sure, how do we collectively as an ecosystem win? Because I think the future of work will be building the ecosystems of cooperation, where talent cooperates, we combine superpowers, and we have a lot of fun while we do good business. Now let's start double clicking into the 5, the cash, the customers, the cost structure, the core team, and your value clarity, right? These are the 5 things. So let's talk about cash first. And when I say cash, if you're looking to sell your business, businesses trade on 2 things: revenue, EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, amortization. That's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about cash in the bank. And I learned something wonderfully when I exited my first business. So started venture number 1 in 2007. We grew it over 5 years to a really great 8-figure exit. And we sold to private equity. Private equity came in day 1. We hired a CFO. We learned something that I had not done before because I had always done our cash on an Excel spreadsheet like this, linearly. This was 2007. Excel spreadsheets were cool. I was an engineer. Excel spreadsheets were cool. And I learned to look at the world a little differently. We took a piece of paper and we turned our cash flow from this way to this way, and we future projected out 13 weeks. So a 13-week cash flow, 90 days of cash. Can we operate our business in 90 days with the cash, the expectations, the real view that we do? And I think that's a value to the controllers and the CFOs, is they add structure and decision-making skills on our resources and our team, because business owners and founders can get very over their skis with optimism, get really excited about stuff, and you got to be able to deliver, and you got to be able to have cash. So make sure you've got those cash. So how do we do that? Well, it starts with, let's go and look realistically at our business. Do we have our receivables in line? Do we have our payables in line? Are our customers paying us? Do we have clarity on that? And so getting ahead of all those things is the key to making sure you got enough cash to make sure you get through any of those little hiccups that are coming our way. Number 2, customers. Let's take a real hard look at our customers. And not all customers are created equal in a downturn. In fact, I spoke to a gentleman yesterday who ran a wonderful business up in the Northeast, who is not looking for new customers because he's looking to service his existing customers as well as he can. Customers that have been with him for a long time. Customers that he can wow with 7-star customer service. Customers that will take him through any kind of uncertainty or downturn. And I think that's awesome. I think that's good. And I think we've got to have a hard look at our customers when we are evaluating where we are in the business cycle. First step is a customer concentration audit. How many customers do we have? The number of them. How many are we relying on? And are we at risk in any potential thing? So venture number 1 for us, we had a major customer concentration problem. We had one really huge customer, and they were probably 70% of our revenue and a large part of our profitability. And we had a bunch of others. Well, if we were to lose them, as we ultimately did at some point, for a variety of different reasons, they moved in different directions, but we lost them, we've got a major problem. And going forward, we've established our cash situation. Now we need to look at our, oh, somebody's calling. All right, we'll call them back after we finish doing this. Customer concentration things, you lose your train of thought when things happen like this. Distractions are bad, note to self. So when customer concentration is out of whack, you can be in a mess. And so losing that one customer, that 2 customers, can really have a horrible, detrimental impact on a business. All right, number 3 is cost structure of our business. I've done this really well in the past, and I've done this really atrociously bad in the past. So venture number 1, startup number 1, back in 2007, we measured cash, we measured customer concentration, and we measured cost structure to a penny. Like, we made sure we didn't move forward till we had cash. Now, once you have some success, you get an exit or 2, you acquire a business or 2, and you get a little bit over your skis, you can get a little too optimistic with your cost structure, because once that machine is big and built, it's really hard to downsize. It's really hard to get rid of people. Those people can be family members because you've worked with them every single day. Not the sense of real family members, but you feel like family because you have worked with them for so long. And it gets really hard to change your cost structure when it's, and oftentimes it's too late, right? I'm rambling a little bit because this is a tough one. We've got to be almost on a daily, weekly basis looking at our cost structure to make sure we are being diligent about the people that we've got, the systems that we use, the travel that we're doing, the norms that were created, right? So you're used to a certain company lifestyle, if you want to say that. And are you able to break that lifestyle in a time of uncertainty like we live in now? It's a question we have to ask ourselves. It's a personal question as well, I would even say. So go through your line items. Look at your profit and loss statement, your P&L. See what's important. See what you're spending money on. See if it's required right now. This is what your customers are doing, by the way, and why you are at risk. Because if you're not doing this now, they are, and you could be part of the cut. So you need to make sure you're proactively staying ahead of the game and making sure your cost structure is in control. Number 4, the one that makes us the most scared, our core team, our people. I think it's one of the 3 big pillars that we build businesses upon: people, purpose, and process. And this one is a tough one. And this is your core team. Now remember, we're talking about a business situation where we're potentially looking at ourselves in the mirror, giving ourselves a scorecard of, are we ready to weather the storm of this potential downturn? Are we measuring, are we weighing, are we growing and scaling because we're getting an upturn? Where are we? And I think these 5 principles apply to both scale ups and the cautious optimistic here's and the scales downs, if that's a word. So you have different types of employees. You got your A players. They'll do whatever it takes. They are the rock stars. They will make it happen, figure out a way to make it happen. They are self-propelled, entrepreneurial driven employees who are stallions and stallionettes, which is great. Then you got the B players, solid, trainable, solid, and trainable. And then you got the C players. You've got to take the C player's head, you've got to turn it over here, say drink the water, you got to put the water in front. You just got to do a lot of stuff. And they're there at times. Sometimes you get entry level, they come up to a certain level and they plateau. I've seen that. I have seen where you can take an employee, grow them to a certain level, they plateau, and you want to keep growing that employee. I've had a hard time doing that, been unable to do that in a lot of cases. Oftentimes when you're scaling up, that means you have to cut that player and go to the next player, repurpose that player, right? This is where we got to take a critical look at our team. Who's in the boat with us if we're going through hard times? And how do we make sure our A players are excited? C players crush A players' morale. They can't stand it. A players do not want to be around C players. They want to be around other people propelling them, because what happens when you get 2 A players together is they start propelling each other up, which is an amazing thing. It's my theory in the ecosystem. If you put yourself around A players in your business who complement you and have alternative superpowers, the 2 of you just start swimming in a natural vertical way, and that calls it scale up, which is the fun times, not the downturns. Here we're talking about putting in some principles that will help you on both ups and downs. Number 5, let's dive right into, what do we do? What products and services do we make? How do we stack up against the competition? This is our clarity of value. And this is where many business owners might say, it's a marketing problem. Marketing's got that. I don't think it's a marketing problem at all. I think it's a problem or a opportunity to look at our core offering. What do we do really well? And how can we differentiate ourselves, focus, and execute in a way like no other can? This is where you loving on your customers, giving 7-star customer service, and really being the best, the fastest, the most efficient to do business with really helps. This is the process piece. When I say people, purpose, process, this is the process piece where you can have the right process in your business so that your product or service offering is stellar for your customer base. Because right now, in a downturn, we've got to get really clear on what do we do well for others. How do we position ourselves like that? What deals do we want to win and what deals do we want to take so that we're always profitable? Who do we serve? What do we offer? All these kinds of questions. And if you're in a scale up situation, this is where you win a niche, a focus point, and now you can bring on that next layer of the onion to start to go up, up, up. That next product, that next service, that next offering, as long as your attract, nurture, convert, delivery phases are rockstar, solid, process-driven, nowadays automation-focused, and crushing it, right? So number 5 is one to get really, don't be scared to getting more focused, getting more niched, getting more unique.